all our ads are kind of like that. Fast track, move on. Something else, like keep going. Something else, just do it.
Nike, just do it.
It's
Just
our
do it.
main culture.
It is. I mean, I get that capitalism drives on this, okay? Because they don't want you to tell you, just sit at home and do nothing. Be happy, chill the fuck out. Don't buy anything.
Which is counterintuitive because if you really do want to be happy, it would make sense to just stop trying. Just give up. Just stop.
Right.
Yeah.
Nike, just give up.
You are entering the Overthink tank.
Hey guys!
Hey!
Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of the Overthink Tank.
Yeah.
That's a cue to clap for me. That's right.
Woo.
Keep going.
Oh my god, now I'm overthinking not clapping for you when you said that.
Today we have with us two really cool people, and I know I say that for everyone, but these guys are genuinely cool. I mean, meet Aaliyah. Also, stage name is Jhalli. Jhalli, please introduce yourself.
Oh man, okay. So hi guys, my name is Jhalli, or Aaliyah, but Jhalli. And I'm a musician, and my EP has just released. It's called Why Should I? People always ask me, why is your stage name Jhalli? And it's because I just like to do whatever I want and be free-spirited and wear whatever I want and be weird. And honestly, isn't everyone a bit of a Jhalli on the inside? So...
Ooh,
that's
100%. That's
I'll
poetry.
listen to that. All right.
Along with Jhalli, we have another Jhalli.
Cool. Oh,
Cool,
wow.
cool Jhalli.
I thought you were going with the cool thing.
Cool Jhalli? No, we have with us my ex-flatmate, but we're still trying to figure out what our dynamic is right now.
We might be future flatmates.
We might be
also.
future flatmates too. Meet Sejal Bhat.
Thank you.
Woo.
Hi.
Sejal Bhat,
Hello.
tell us about yourself.
I'm a comedian. That's it.
All right, this is
Okay.
good enough, I guess. Guys, today on this brand new episode of the Overthink Tank, we are overthinking toxic positivity. And
Ooh, yeah!
Yeah, love it. Keep going. Never give up. That's the attitude. You go, girl. Good. You got this. Ain't no trying at all. Come on, let's do this.
thank you. Good vibes only in this studio. So I received a question from one of my listeners and I wanted to read it out to you. Are you guys ready? Hey, the Overthink Tank. Since I've grown up, every time I face some difficulties with my parents or my friends, everybody would just brush it aside by saying, someone else has it much worse and you should be grateful. I've realized that this is a form of toxic positivity, and by default, this is how now I look at all my problems. How do I stop? Good one. Big question coming in from one of the overthinkers out there. But let's start by talking about positivity. And like, do you have anyone in your life who just generally just like telling you to be grateful and be happy?
I do. Okay, I'll go first. It's my ex-flatmate who I'm doing a podcast with at this point. She was just so positive.
Oh,
it was just
shit.
like, okay, Bagga, stop it.
Called out.
Yeah, she...
Outed
Called
me.
out. So
Immediately outed me. I was that person before, but I don't think there was a word for this whole like toxic.
It was
positivity.
non-toxic positivity.
Did you just think you were like trying to help cheer her up and you were being a good friend?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. But now I just sit back and listen. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, keep talking. Because feelings are feelings, and you can't really like you can't make sense of all the feelings.
And you can't talk your way out of them for sure. Especially someone else telling you like, oh, you should be feeling a certain way does not help get rid of what you're feeling already. Like that's psychology
ridiculous.
101.
Were you a psychology student?
I have a degree in psychology.
Oh,
What? I thought you...
wow.
Okay.
Perfect podcast
Great.
guest. Aaliyah, what was the last person who asked you to be grateful for what you have?
So I'll be honest, like both I wouldn't call them toxic because I think it's helped me. But when I was young, I used to find it very annoying, especially when I was like going through my teenage phase. Like it's very hard, if not impossible, to be happy when you're a teenager because like life sucks, your hormones are raging, everything sucks. And so then when my mom would be like, oh, you know, just at least you're not in this position, like be thankful for what you have. I was like, what is wrong with you? Are you like not human? Are you incapable of listening to how I feel? But as I've aged, I like want to be grateful for things myself. So sometimes I feel like I'm toxic positivity with myself. I'm like, oh my god, you're feeling sad, well, you know, at least like you're not this person, like this person just their family member just died, and so I have to constantly keep myself in check and be like, it's okay to feel feelings, like
You're right.
when you feel things you heal.
But
from
it's
things.
it's basically conditioning, right? Not the conditioning you do after shampooing,
Oh,
but not
okay.
that one.
Not that one?
Not that one.
Are you sure?
I was
I'm
saying,
pretty sure.
I thought it's all the cocoacetyl butylate that is doing.
Wow. Just to set some random
No, but-
benzolite. blah,
Benzolite.
parabens.
Wow.
Okay,
Okay. Parabens.
everybody.
Parabens do cause toxic positivity.
They
though.
do.
Yeah, they do. No, but it does start at home. My mom's also given me a lot of like, आपको पता है आपको कितना और भी खराब हो, like, you know, just like a few past that you didn't have, and you should be grateful that at least हमने आपको सड़क पे नहीं छोड़ दिया. It's
wow.
like, thanks, mama.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
then
like,
you can play it back to them. Be like, thanks, but mom, at least I didn't murder you guys. Aren't you happy?
but they are happy. They're always happy. I don't know how they do it. My parents are always like, maybe when I am their age and
It's called the pushing it down technique.
no, they're genuinely like really. Look, I'm just lucky. I have such like genuinely positive parents. When they try to like tuso it down my mouth is when the problem begins. Because I'm like, I am a human being with complex emotions. I'm gonna feel them all if that's okay with you. You know, especially
If that's okay with you.
Yeah.
If you don't mind.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Can I just
Today I'm
really
gonna be
quick
bitchy.
feel? Can I just like feel a bit like sad today, please? If permission ho to. Like that's
Yeah, I think should have permission to be like, आज मेरा bitchy वाला mood है. I'm gonna be bitchy. No positivity for me
Yeah,
today.
like a little mood indicator. But actually, Charlie, your new EP, I feel like has really changed. One of the songs that's my favorite is Hurricane. Another song that I really like is Insecurity. And I feel like you really talk about the good and the deep stuff, right? It's not just like, I broke up with my boyfriend again, which is also good stuff. No,
I have
no
a lot of
offense to
songs
Taylor
like that.
Swift.
To be fair,
Yeah.
they're just unreleased.
Just write them in the bedroom.
But
get
what
them
was
out.
your inspiration behind your whole album?
So whole album was just kind of the EP is called Why Should I? So it's just about being yourself and whatever that means, you know. And for me, it was always kind of like a rebellion. And I think for every generation that is true. But to come back to the topic of toxic positivity or just not feeling your emotions, my song Hurricane, specifically the one that you like, talks about that. And it's actually just about how I think, if you want to gender it, like women specifically are not allowed to feel anger and like the more, you know, kind of expressive emotions like anger, they're called like hysterical or all these like really sexist terms. And then men are not allowed to cry and feel like hurt and feel vulnerable, you know, which is also again really toxic because it's like that's not even coming from a place of toxic positivity. That's just coming from a place of sexism. Like mard ko dard nahi hota, like all that shit.
A lot of what we see around us is, you know, is that positive image of everybody hustling and everybody doing, getting their thing, ticking off their things off a to-do list. Especially, I don't know if you guys noticed, but during the pandemic, there was this whole phase where everybody was making videos and calling it the that girl syndrome. The that in capital.
Thankfully, I have not seen that.
Oh my god. My entire timeline was full of them, and it's just basically everybody, like a girl gets up, she makes her coffee, she makes a bed, and like she's going off to work and she's working out, and like I'm like on some days it's like if I brush my teeth, that's good enough. So what do we have to say about the aspect of social media that's sort
Is
of
this the
making
same
it-
thing as hustle culture? Is this the
Pretty
same
much,
thing?
Yeah.
but like again, new word for the same thing.
It's the
That
same
girl
thing. Just
syndrome.
keep going, never stop, never give up. That attitude, that whole.
But a little
gym
bit with
bros.
a like some live laugh love in it, like
Live,
a
laugh,
little
laugh,
hustle,
little
with a
gym bro.
little gym bro.
Yeah,
some
okay,
little
okay,
live
okay.
laugh.
Little-
Have you seen someone in your life who's like this?
There are, yeah. These are real people, man. I have a friend who's just like constantly positive at all. Uska live, love, laugh is not like outside as a can. It's like inside her pate. So I can tell that, you know, sometimes people are just like, I think it's a very extreme coping mechanism. It's just like, I refuse to acknowledge any horrible things at all. You know, like if you're feeling jealous and you start like overacting a little bit every time you have, I think that's what kind of is the root of this whole toxic positivity thing. It's just like suppression. Is the main.
Yeah.
You're just brushing it off and being like, this is like, that's the whole thing.
It's that
right?
whole I'm strong, I'm stronger than that. I can do better. Of course I can move on, and that all
And
our Ads are kind of like that. Fast track, move on. Something else, like keep going. Something else, just do it.
Nike, just do it.
It's
Just
our
do it.
main culture.
It is. It is. I mean, I get that capitalism drives on this, okay? Because they don't want you to tell you, just sit at home and do
Be
nothing.
happy, yeah.
Be happy. Chill the fuck out. Don't buy anything.
Which is counterintuitive because if you really do want to be happy, it would make sense to just stop trying. Just give up. Just stop. Just,
Right.
yeah.
Nike, just give up.
Stop. No need to do it.
It's like the opposite of toxic positivity.
Just give up.
Positively toxic negativity. Just give up.
Are you able to have a decent conversation with someone who's so like live, love, laugh in their brain? Because I'm talking to a robot with no feelings. They're just sort of giving me the same gyan over and over again. Be grateful for what you have. This will pass. And like, even though I know this will pass, but do I want to know it from someone else? I don't think so.
You can't. I think you can never. It has to come from within, that joy. You cannot force that joy upon someone and be like, "Here, be happy." You know, like you can't. And I've tried, because I've been that person who's been, you know, and I would like to think I was not toxically positive, but I was just trying to be positive and like listen and understand the situation and then say some helpful advice. But it's like, no matter what I say, they're gonna feel what the way they feel, you know. So all I can do is listen and be there and be like, listen, I love you, I'm here for you. And I think that's the difference between like toxic positivity and empathy, like genuine empathy.
Correct.
Is you listen and you understand and you give them what they want. If they want advice, you give them that. If they want support, or if they just want a shoulder to cry on, you give them that. You know, whereas toxic positivity is assuming that it's your job to fix them and make them
Correct.
happy in that moment, which is not possible.
Why do people feel the need to like fix this though?
It makes them uncomfortable.
Yeah. I think that's true actually. Just negativity, sad feelings, horrible ones that like require a lot of introspection are just uncomfortable. So just do it with as much weight, that suppression thing.
Yeah.
What I was just thinking about though is like these friends of mine who are kind of like upbeat and all of that, what I use it for is it's kind of like a, you know, when it's really cold and snowy outside and you don't have anything, but if you have like a tiny heater, once in a while you
Got
just
it.
go there and just put yourself in like, हाँ थोड़ी गर्मी,
थोड़ी
ठीक है,
गर्मी.
नहीं हो सकता.
Okay, too hot, too
If you
hot.
just- yeah, too hot,
Too
too toxic, too positive. Step away.
Yeah,
But I think that's what you can use it for.
I feel like, yeah, you're right, because when I'm hang out with these people, I'm not immediately like disgusted by them, because like a part of me also likes to hear like the toxic positivity side of it. Why is that? Why? Because I feel like
you only feel alive when you're in pain, as
It's
my
like a-
song said.
it is like a band-aid. It's like a band-aid on a bullet wound though, right? Because I mean, I am suffering here and you're like good vibes only. So
I have done it though, people. You know, I just thought about it. I think I have also done this toxic positivity thing, but it's sometimes then I just don't want to fucking hear the problem. I just want to be like, हाँ हो जाएगा यार, ठीक है, ठीक है.
It's like if you don't care,
yeah.
I think that's when I'm
well,
done.
that's just a toxic friend.
yeah, like you
guys.
just should not be around
That's
that
just
person.
a toxic friend. Sejal.
I think I've done
that's why
that.
she has zero
I remembered
friends.
one incident where I've done it, but that was because I didn't want to hear his shit at the time, and I was like, ये तो बहुत ही दुखी हो जाता है.
Oh my
like,
God.
You know, the opposite of toxic positive
Yeah.
person who has a very high capacity for sadness.
Yeah.
Just be like, oh, I can't get
That is
sucked
true.
into your shit,
That
man.
is true, though. I do feel like there's some people who only see the negative in things, and I, like, while I do think it's healthy to feel all your feelings, so if you're feeling bad all the time, like, that's okay. But then I do feel like then I have to step in at some point, because I am a very generally positive person. So I'm like, maybe I can just sprinkle a bit, and then if you want to like lena hai to le lo, like otherwise you leave it. But I want to try to like show you another perspective, because sometimes I feel like people don't see anything
And you
good.
don't want to get caught up in the
That negative side of like kind of also then validating their like sadness and sometimes it is valid, like sometimes if you've had like a trauma, or even if you know you're just suffering from mental health stuff, it's of course valid. But then sometimes it's like, okay, you could just see it from a different way, and I want to help you do that, but it's not, again, it's not my place.
It's not feasible. I have a flight at 8 p.m. Okay? So just live, love, laugh.
But you know, guys, the thing is, it's because where we hang around so many of these people. Do you feel like you're ever faking your own emotions around these guys? Because sometimes I feel like even though I'm having a bad day, I would go out and be like, smile, turn that frown upside down, girl. The world's not ready for your depression. And I feel like even that sucks, because if I can't like go to my workplace and just be like, I'm sad today, but I'm here to work, don't make me fucking don't try to make me happy about my work life. Can I just exist?
I'm around like musicians all the time and we're pretty emo, so no. No, we like we feel our feelings like that, and actors, it's kind of our job. So I'm around people who feel a nice healthy range of emotions.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
As a
Yeah.
comedian, do you feel like all your comedian friends are feelers?
Comedians are, I think, professional suppressors. They're just, you know,
That's
that
true.
crazy looking tragedy comedy mask where one is just like, "Mm," and the other one's like, yeah.
Oh my God,
That's, I
yeah.
think the comedians just being like, yeah, alright. It's not like toxic positivity, but it's just like endless jokes. Just joke after joke.
So it's
to
all just
push it down.
material for them. Do you feel like a lot of comedians forget
No, they
where
are.
it's...
Yeah, in like behind closed doors, everybody is like a real person only. Okay, so recently I was at one Pratik Kohad concert at some point, and there were like some 5,000 people almost. Okay, and he's up there on stage, and everyone's going with him, like they're adding to his feelings and shit. But for some reason, Pratik Kohad was not affected at all. Up there, while thousands of people are cheering for him, he was like, "Oh, I'm so sad." And I was like, "Man, musicians are a little bit."
Yeah,
it
but
was
you
very
have to. I
pointless
think
to me.
I think 100% musicians are super emo feelers because it helps write good music. Like look at all the people who wrote the best
Oh,
music, or the people who
damn.
had the most pain, like Kurt
I
Cobain,
guess.
Amy Winehouse.
Oh no.
both
you know.
dead.
Yeah,
Very
okay, I'm
early.
not like idolizing them. I'm just saying they were deep feelers and they wrote good music. There's a correlation
If you
there.
feel, then you die. That's basically...
That's why toxic people.
That's
positive.
why they live long.
Because
Live
they
long.
laugh long.
They live long
love
to spread the toxicity and the positivity.
But babe, I was just thinking about it. Like, you know how you go to so many concerts and everybody has their flashlight on. That has to get some reaction from the singer. Are you saying
No.
Pratik Kohad didn't
Not
even
if it's-
say anything?
No, Pratik Kohad just sat there, stood there, actually, unaffected as fuck, just looking like he's on the road right
Maybe
now.
he was
and
nervous,
moping.
bro. Like, I mean, also
Oh.
think of the fact that there's so many people. You're not going to be like, yeah, I mean, you could. I
But
would.
nervousness makes you, I don't know, I just didn't see any nervous feelings. I just
Maybe he
saw
was
him like,
bored.
like, whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's just,
Yeah.
which is
Just going
also
through.
strong emotion to
Strong
exhibit.
emotion to just bring
front
on
of-
stage with you. That's
Yeah.
What song was he singing?
Cold Mess or
Oh, of
Sad
course.
Mess.
Now feel
One of
cold,
those.
cold mess.
Dude,
Yeah.
Cold Mess is on Obama's list of songs.
It
He listens to it, and every time I play that song, I'm like, Obama and I are basically the same
See,
people.
now, if someone had come and told Pratik, you know, when he was feeling so bad, but right before he wrote Cold Mess, someone was like, man, just shake it off. Like, you know, someone has it worse than you. You just had this breakup, but fuck it, it's fine. You know, like, this song would never have been born.
You're right.
Obama's
we would never have
playlist.
Jim Sarb. Dude, that video, oh my god.
The video is great.
This whole podcast is now derailing to be...
But can I just say that like that's such a good point about toxic positivity and just like feel, I mean, not about that, but about feeling your emotions, is that so much good art and like music and stuff comes out of feeling a whole healthy range of
Yeah.
emotions. You cannot be happy all the time. It's hard to create when you're so happy. I think it's harder for me to create.
Especially the negative ones. Actually, now that I think about it, a lot of comedy also comes from your embarrassments,
trauma.
your
Yeah.
insecurities. Yeah.
Again, as you mentioned that Cold Mess is now a song, thankfully, because nobody told Pratik Kohad to take it easy and just chill, man. Just chill.
Imagine if he had one of these
It would
live,
be
love, laugh
like-
friends. Like, just Pratik, just get out of it, man. Whatever. Sabke saath hota hai breakup.
What is the thin line between sort of realistic positivity and toxic positivity? Because you sort of, I don't think I can hang out with just negative people also. I mean, I would...
100%.
Right? Because, I mean, then I feel like if I am too negative, I feel like I'm being a bummer.
I for me that line is just hanging out with an empathetic, again, a healthy range of emotions is important, you know. So someone who feels sad and you know, kind of indulges in their sadness also, but then someone who can also, when I'm in a like someone who can balance me out, like if I'm in a bad mood, they can be slightly in a better mood. If I'm in a good mood, then they can be in a bad mood, I guess. But I think the difference between healthy positivity and toxic is you first of all don't expect anyone else to feel happy just because you're happy. But if they want your advice, if they want to see a different point of view, you offer it up after understanding the situation and after really listening to why they're sad, and not just kind of throwing their pain into this it happens to everyone kind of you're not special thing. Because no matter what you say, no matter how much you compare yourself to starving kids in like Uganda, you're still pain is still pain, you know, and emotions
Exactly.
are still emotions, and you know.
And your problems, I mean, outside of whatever is happening in the world are still like valid, right? It
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense to be like, oh, just because my phone isn't charged today, I can't be sad. Actually, my phone's dying and I'm sad right now. So
Hey, sorry.
I want to be clear about my happiness completely depends on what percentage my phone is on. Right now it's at 6%.
You should get a power bank, man, if it's that easy.
Like toxic positivity. Like, stick a power bank up your phone.
You just said it depends on your phone charge. I'm just trying to help.
I didn't even ask for advice actually.
Guys, just
I
stop
wanted
it.
to
Just
listen
live, love, laugh, guys.
That's
Just live,
true.
love,
Oh my god, I
laugh.
just did it. I'm sorry.
It's so fucking internally, like, it's
No,
right
but
there, right?
It's the point of all movies and everything, right? We can't really get
Exactly.
it out of our culture. We want to spread hope and the feeling of love. What else is there to do otherwise?
We watch a lot of TV shows
It's
that
the
spread the same idea.
Yeah, all sitcoms. Everything is based around ki, like, let's be hopeful. Let's
Exactly.
keep going.
All these rom-coms also, everybody sort of finds their way back into their
Yeah.
love life. I'm like, how is this happening? Why is
Yeah.
nobody...
Rom-coms forever have been going. How long did Black Mirror last?
Not
That's it.
enough.
It's over.
You're right. It
And
has
nobody
only
wants
two
Black
seasons.
Mirror.
Oh, I love it. It's coming back, right?
Latest
Please tell
season
me.
was kind of shit though. I have to say. Right away. Did you see the Bandersnatch?
Bandersnatch was pretty
मैं
bad,
decision करूँ और फिर मैं ही screw हो जाऊँ इसमें.
But I
I
will
thought
say I
would
love
never.
Black Mirror because it's not toxic positivity. But
It's not.
the episodes I like the best are the kind of positive ones, like San Juniper, where there's
I
hope
knew
at the
it.
end.
See?
Yeah, where
It
there's
sells. It sells nicely.
It does. If you wrap it up in like a little like bow on the top, like, oh, you know what?
So you're saying
Not all
ideally
is bad.
content should be packaged like little bit sad, but overall actually सब ठीक ही चल रहा है.
But does that, do you think, does that really
controversial.
help though?
That's what helps.
Like the whole like sandwich aspect of like, I say something about my feelings, where I feel things, but then I also go like, nah, but it's nothing to worry about. Like, you know, I'm fine. I'll manage it. You don't worry. No worries.
what I was saying is that I think it also depends on why you're feeling the emotion. So it's like you can sandwich some things if it's something that has happened to you and you can't control, and then you just kind of want to feel better. But if it's something that you do have agency over, you're sometimes feeling sad, you're feeling dissatisfied, you're feeling angry, you're feeling all these emotions, helpless, whatever, for a reason. So you go break up with that asshole, you know, like
Yeah.
there's a reason your body is giving you these feelings.
Or you write a song about him.
I got a song about it. I would stay in that relationship
Just for the pain.
bang out like 10 hits and then break up with him. But eventually
He's hitting me literally, but at least I got myself some 10 hits now.
Oh
Like,
my
Every
in a
hit
song
counts as a
album.
that was
beat
so dumb.
of a song.
It's worth it. But
But
you're
yeah.
but also a lot of people, when you're like sort of in a relationship that's abusive in all like sort of aspects, you need like a external source to come shake you up, because I bet like sometimes you don't even have perspective on what's happening. Do you think at that point someone needs to come make you more positive about things, like, oh, this will pass, or give you
Depends
realistic
on the
advice?
relationship. No, if it's something that is genuinely not affecting your life in a good way, and I mean all relationships, friendships, with your family, obviously romantic. I think it's helpful to have someone just be realistic with you, you know, depending on your specific situation, which is why you need to listen and not just throw out these cliches and be like, it'll pass, like, you know, and marriage is a compromise or whatever the fuck, like, you know.
That's a good one.
That's a
for
toxic
30
one.
That's so
Positivity one.
toxic.
Yeah.
Dude, but I was just thinking, I think no matter how people try to package things, no, there's also something like you can't help but give away your real self. That happens. So, so if somebody's trying to be, the reason we are starting to see the toxicity of this extra positivity vibe is because you can tell that usually somebody who's projecting this is kind of has a lot of anguish inside and is coming from that place. Otherwise, it wouldn't feel toxic. A genuinely warm, sunny person comes across as a like, you know, somebody
Correct.
warm, and you want to be around that person more because they have a nice warm vibe.
That's so true.
So I feel like that's why maybe we're finding this kind of, it's irking us because
Yeah.
it's just like,
Why?
let's do it.
Exactly. My question is, why now, after sort of like the pandemic and everything? I feel like we got 2 years to sort of feel our feelings, and that's also the year when like toxic positivity, the word, came into being. So there's always like two forces at work, right? There's one side that's being realistic, and there's also another side that's being overtly toxic about things. So we just maybe need new friends, guys. If you new friends alert.
But I don't think any of my friends are toxically positive. In fact, I think I'm the most, I wouldn't say toxic, I hope not. I'll verify with my friends later. But I think I'm the most positive of my friends. Normally, I'm the one who's like okay with things and I see the bright side of things, and other people have issues, I listen. I'm like, हाँ बता दे. Like, I'm not gonna tell you what to do with your life.
Yeah.
You are wearing polka dots.
Yeah.
Which I associate
Clearly
with like a
means that
positive person.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah,
Negative people cannot wear polka dots. It's
No, no,
against
no.
their code of ethics.
it's not in the
It's like,
dress
I
code.
cried this morning. No, burn
no
this.
polka
Burn
dots.
Burn
this
this
polka dot.
dress. Just wear tiger stripes.
The only dots on my dress are from cigarette burns.
Oh my god. The amount of dresses I've ruined.
From cigarette
Same.
burns.
Yeah.
Some
no,
really
but
nice
because of
pants.
crying in them.
Yeah.
Crying in my
Oh.
clothes.
Yeah, same.
I don't smoke. Guys, come on.
मेरा फेस मास्क एक्चुअली जो शीट मास्क है वो गीला मेरे आंसू से होता है उसी से मैं हाइड्रेट करती हूँ अपने आप को.
But you know, remember how people would say, I only cry when it's raining outside? You remember
Who
this
said that to you? No.
It's a quote though.
It's a
I've seen
quote.
the
I
quote.
only cry when it's raining.
I only cry when it's raining outside so nobody can see my tears.
No, I cry
That's
in the
the full
But
shower.
what if you're indoors?
Shower.
I
Then
can
you go
still
to the
see your
shower.
tears.
You can go to the shower, but the quote was that I cry when it's raining so nobody can see my tears.
That sucks,
That
man.
really
That's
sucks.
a sad life.
That's
I
such a
cry all
waste
the
of
time.
tears. I would collect my tears.
I cry at anything, man. I cry when I'm angry. I cry when I'm happy. I cry when I'm like just touched by. I'm always crying. I love crying. It's so healthy.
It's
And your cue for crying. This is your cue for crying.
Guys, I'm just so happy to be here.
I think
Can
your
you
eyes are
cry
kind
on
of
command?
glistening actually, slightly.
Give me 2 minutes so I can. No, let's not. Let's not.
Oh my god, I would love. Sejal, can you cry on command?
This is turning into a weird toxic negativity.
Yeah.
She's
just
like making her guests
just
Come
cry.
on, somebody needs to shed a little bit of
I can
tears.
choke up on command, I think. And wait, let me just think about my last breakup, guys. Hold on.
Oh
Give me
my
1
God.
second. I have some tears in place that I bring out anytime. Think about
But you know, Aaliyah, your song Insecurity, some of the words really like connected with me, especially because you speak about romance also with like such insight. Do you want to tell us what that song is based on?
I speak about romance. I don't.
You do. There's a line that I really
हाँ,
like.
in
the
the
lyrics
bridge
पढ़ती
there
है.
is-
It's all some kind
इसमें
of
बहुत
cosmic
cosmic
romance.
So that actually is about just a romance with the universe. Like I'm quite a
Ooh.
like woo universe type of person.
nice.
You know what? That
I like
reminds
that.
me. A lot of people now love to talk about manifestation.
I love manifesting. Woo.
Oh my god, we have a manifest. Did you manifest
I
being here
manifested
today?
this podcast. I'm
podcast?
here right now because I
Awesome.
manifested it, bro. Like otherwise you would not even look at me.
Could you give us a breakdown of what manifestation
Yeah.
really is?
Yeah. So it kind of, I mean, I don't want to be the spokesperson for everyone. This is how I understand it. It's kind of like it stems from the assumption and the philosophy that your mind creates your reality. So if you constantly focus all your, and like as human beings are very powerful, so if you constantly focus your attention on and your intention on something that you want to happen, you want to see, and then you remove that wanting energy from it and kind of live in that, and it's like we're all radios. So if you want to be at 104, your frequency can't be at like 98. And I know this is sounding kind of toxic, but let me finish.
Yeah.
But it's kind of just about basically lying to yourself until you reach that state of like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna this thing that I want is already mine, and like I'm so grateful for it. And then it comes to you weirdly. It's happened to me so many times in my life. It's
Is it because you were
shocking.
putting in all the work, and even if you didn't
Of
sort of
course.
pretend that this has already happened, it would have
I think the
happened?
mindset makes a huge difference.
I've seen some girls manifesting on YouTube,
One
and
sec.
they are
Firstly,
just
is manifesting the same thing as that Shah Rukh Khan movie where it was like Puri Kainat?
Huh.
Oh
it's
my
exactly
God.
That. It's exactly
yeah,
that.
I guess.
Sorry.
Way to include Shah Rukh in this podcast.
You know me,
Yeah, SRK, big fan. But you know what? I've seen some girls manifesting on their podcast, and there's a whole community out there that believes in manifestation, and honestly, I don't buy it. I just don't, because I feel
fair.
like, because like sometimes they're just sitting and they're talking about what they plan to do the next week, but they're talking in the present. So they're like, oh, you know what? I'm having such a good time. I'm meeting new people, and so
Yeah,
it's
I'm
like,
affirming it. So basically, another belief of manifestation is that. What am I doing with my life? I'm not buy my book. But another belief is that there is no past and there is no future. There's only like, have you ever lived in a tomorrow, or have you ever lived in a yesterday?
no.
No, you can only live in the present moment, right? It's a very spiritual concept we only have the present. So you have to speak in the presence, because there is no. If you're manifesting for the future, if you're saying I will do this, it'll always be kind of an arm's length.
Sorry,
away.
so what do you have to do in the present? You have to affirm
Say
something.
whatever. You can say I am earning this much a month, or I have the perfect partner, or whatever you want to manifest.
How specific do we need to go?
As specific
Even
as
if you
want.
don't have a boyfriend, you go like, I have a perfect
Yeah,
partner.
yeah. Oh my god, when I didn't have a boyfriend.
Oh my God.
I used to-
Third, it's like,
Imagine-
I will have a perfect. No.
No, you have to say it in the present, because what you're doing is, and I think this is where a lot of toxic positivity stems from, weirdly, is someone who's trying to help and be like, oh, if you trick your mind into being happy, but you can't just flip a switch one day and do it. It takes a lot of effort. Like for me, it took me years to even believe in manifestation, because my mom was always into it. She said this since I was like 7. She was like, oh, you can, and it took me so much rebellion and being like, man, fuck this. Like, this is not, like, you can't do this. This is all like hokey nonsense. To kind of see it happen in my life and be like, okay, I think I do have some control over these miraculous things that are happening in my life. Let me try to do it more intentionally. But
Why didn't you believe it in earlier though?
because I don't know, we're living in this physical reality. It seems highly unlikely that I can cause something to happen with my mind.
I would actually
It
do the
makes sense.
opposite growing up. I would be like, if I don't think about
It's
the
also
outcome,
called something. There's a word for it.
jinx. I think it's called jinx. Don't jinx it. So if
Yeah.
I right,
It's kind of like jinx. Yeah.
I would always, so if I'm, say if I'm going for an interview and my friend's like, how's the interview go? Like, I wouldn't sort of talk about it unless I get a word back from them, because I don't want to jinx it at all.
Yeah.
That's also
Why
fair. I think.
is
I
it?
think the two are
I
kind
think
of
people
tied
also
in.
sometimes put negative energies on things and
Oh my
jealous
God.
energies and things. So you don't tell people stuff unless there's someone you trust and someone who would genuinely be happy for you. Genuinely be happy.
Genuinely.
Be happy.
Generally.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
Sejal, can you manifest this week for us? What do you want to do this coming week?
मैं अपनी
What are you
manifestation I
doing?
don't waste
No,
on
no,
this
no, do it on
weekly
the
plans.
podcast,
I
come
save
on.
my manifesting for long term things.
I
like
know, but tell me,
kainat related
what are you
things.
doing next week? Manifest your
I have
next
no
week.
idea. Some stand up open mics and stuff, I guess.
You are in the present, so say I am doing a stand.
I am killing it at the Fringe Festival at Edinburgh next
nice.
week. Now of the next week.
You're now.
If I don't make it to Fringe Festival, then
The thing is, you have to believe it. That's
I
the-
believe it.
You believe
You
it.
believe it?
I believe.
You are at Fringe Festival.
I
right?
believe.
You
I'm
believe?
there. I'm there
Just,
right
just
now.
say
I'm
I.
being Pratik hard on stage, not affected by everybody's happiness. Totally sad.
You believe
inside,
it?
But I'm there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It takes
I
a
think
while
there's
to
a
get the hang of it.
opposite also to this manifestation thing that I've heard of is the thing, like you call it jinx. I think it's called the power of backward thinking or opposite thinking. Some word like that, I don't remember. But it's basically this, iska opposite. Ki if you don't get anybody's energy on it or whatever, if you think it's not gonna happen, it'll happen.
Oh yes,
Oh,
correct.
yeah, that's like a yeah.
Oh man, I do that all the time.
I think we should divide our strategies. So the
Let's do
things
a
that
test.
I really want, I should put like if manifestation works better for me, then I'll put that to work for the things I really want. But if the backward opposite thinking works for me, then I'll put that to work for the thing I really want. And keep the other strategy for
Yeah.
the other things that I don't want. It's gonna
That's
be
actually, and that's what I want to say is that just because I really like manifesting doesn't mean that I'm gonna like go again tussle it down people's mouths and be like, you have to also do it, come on, like your mind determines your reality. It's like for some people that doesn't work. For some people being in a very like hyper realist or
Because
even like a
I feel
low
like
mood
my
helps.
self-awareness comes in the way of manifesting. Because I'm sitting here, but I'm like, I am at the Edinburgh Music Festival. There's
But
no way.
you don't have to be literally
There
like
is
saying
no
so for
way.
example
not even music.
you'd say something more like I'm so happy with my career,
Yeah.
or I'm so happy, like something that's
Vague things.
like a bit, or you can be specific. You can be like, I have these many followers on my podcast or whatever.
Oh, really?
Oh,
You know,
interesting.
yeah. But because that is something that could be in real time. You can't say, oh, I am on stage right now. I see this man in a green shirt in the audience. Like, don't like.
Oh, okay. So basically, things that are usually happen throughout your week.
more about your general state of
Yeah.
being and how you feel.
Correct. So I should basically go like now I am happy. I'm going to get some coffee now, and then I'm going to poop.
Wow, your dreams are so.
Why would you
They're
manifest a
realistic.
poop,
They're
though?
realistic. Come on, a good poop.
But
That's
that's
all
the
I
thing about
want.
manifestation. You don't
It
have
does
to be
make your day.
realistic. So
Can I manifest my poop?
you can absolutely.
I'm
Please
pooping
teach me.
right now.
I would say like if you want to and the thing about manifestations, it doesn't happen magically. It happens like through physical reality. So if you want to manifest poop, I would tell you eat some corn, it'll help you. And then you're like, oh whoa, I
Oh,
never.
so I'm working also?
But then, yeah,
You have to work a
sucks.
bit.
that's what you're doing. Then you. I
Why
think
am
that's what
I-
manifesting basically
why am I
is. You
working?
keep something. No, that's what I think the manifesting basically is. You keep your whatever goal is right in front of your eyes at all times, and you stare at it long enough. You'll keep doing other things that are related to it. Like if I'm manifesting that I'm gonna be not deficient in vitamin C, I'll constantly keep oranges like around because I'll
Yeah.
keep it, and that'll help me.
Yeah,
But I'll
that's
think it's
true.
manifestation.
That's right.
But it is
physical things
manifestation, no?
It is.
It is in a
But
way.
it's-
It doesn't have to be something like crazy or cosmic or stuff. It's funny that we start talking
Has
about
something, can you tell us about
cosmic
an incident
romance.
where like you manifested something and it actually happened?
Yeah, give us proof, man.
I'll give you an example. Okay, here. When I was a kid, there was this Ramayan play, okay, that we were putting up. My whole class, we used to do annual days, and so I really wanted to be Sita. Okay, I was like, this is a 0-line role, but I want to be Sita. I want to dress in that sari. Want to like get with Ram, and I really wanted to be Sita. And then I was so excited when they were about to cast people. I was like, oh my god! I told one of my friends, Anushri, I was like, I'm really excited. I hope that they give me the role of Sita. I just couldn't stop. I was like so excited about it, and I was like, I feel like I'm gonna get it. Then this other girl from my class got it, and I was made a dancer. Like one of like 15 dancers.
Oh my god.
And I was so bummed the whole time. I was just thinking, okay, I'll go and talk to the dance teacher and I'll tell her like I really don't want to do this, but oh my god, how this other person's gonna feel so bad because she's got kicked out of the role. I thought about this obsessively for the whole day.
And then her leg broke.
Oh, it's so much nicer than that. She comes to me, she's like, hey Aaliyah, do you still want to be Sita? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, I really, like, they put me in this role, but I really don't want it. I want to be a dancer. Can you like, do you want to switch with me? I'll go talk to the teacher. And I was like, yeah.
What?
And I was like 7 and I was like, I just did some magic
You
there.
drugged her. We get
I
it.
drugged
You drugged her.
in second grade, yes. And that's what I was like, and little things like this happen where I even question the universe. I'm like, if manifestation is real, then you show me this, and it does it.
You like
She's
dare you
bullying
dare the
the
universe.
universe.
I do.
She's bullying the
I have a
universe.
great
That's her
relationship with the
strategy.
universe. I'm very like rude to it.
Which is what I want to. So again, Sejal, I want to understand from you. We do a lot of like self-care stuff. Okay, we put on a sheet mask. Sometimes you light a candle in your house just to, because when you're in a bad mood, some of these things really help. You read a nice book, but what sort of? I mean, I guess self-love is all the rage right now, and you should sort of like take time out for yourself. But how do you make sure you're not like telling lies to yourself, and you're not saying that, oh, this candle will fix my life, or this this new nail paint is the answer to all my problems? Because I want to be a manifestation hoe, but I also want to be self-aware.
A realistic bitch.
Yeah, like a realistic.
You
Can't.
realistic
I think the
bitch.
two are fundamentally diametrically
No.
opposite.
I think they are actually part of the same system, and you have to keep the dance between the two of them is life, basically.
Yeah, that's
so
a good way
this
to look at
one.
it, I guess.
I think I was profound for a second. I just want
Love
to take a
it. The
second.
that
dance
was
is
very
called
profound.
life. Love it.
Since life is constantly moving in some direction or the other, you can move forward or you can move backward. Toxic positivity to me feels like moving forward really, 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 really fast, and horrible, like, overly rooted in realism, but also like sort of, dampening your own mood and wallowing in your misery over and over again, I think is the backward form of the same thing. In order to keep like in check with time and life, I think you just have to like sort of slowly keep your cycle going.
Oh, so you're on a
At whatever
spin
speed.
bike that doesn't move anywhere.
No,
it just
it's not.
stays there.
It's
but
just
you
like
feel
kayak.
like you're
It's
moving.
like a slow-moving kayak. Just cruising through life, right?
I like the
kayak.
kayak.
The
actually.
spin
Kayak
one is a
nice.
bit like saddening. It's
But you can't do both at the same time, because then it would be one pedal you're going forward and the other one you're going
my
backward,
God.
and you end up being stuck in
Stuck
one
in the
place.
middle.
a really interesting thing, if I could share, is that like sometimes it's about when you feel certain emotions you don't want to feel. Okay, like, so it's a psych technique that's been tried and tested, and it's basically like you kind of allot a certain amount of time to like feel the shit out of your emotions. If you're feeling sad, become even sadder. Listen to the saddest music you can find and say, okay, I'm going to allot 1 hour, 2 hours, or even however much, 5 minutes you have, and I'm going to feel this emotion and like really just let it kind of wash over me. And then once it hits this time, I'm just going to drop it. And it's kind of hard to do sometimes because sometimes you can't drop it.
Yeah.
But if you figure out how to do that, I think it's a really healthy way to even process.
Yeah.
I get it.
correct.
I've naturally
Your
tried to do
feelings.
this thing where I've noticed if I've been on Instagram or one of these things for like YouTube shorts or whatever, I become suddenly aware and I go like, is there something I'm avoiding? Is it something? So I just try and
so
deliberately
every
bore
time I'm
myself.
every time
separately.
you're doom scrolling, there comes a point when you're like, wait a
what
sec.
have I done?
What am I
For the
doing?
last 2 hours.
Correct.
What I do in these times is I drop whatever this thing is there and I stand like a buffoon in the middle of my room. Then I go like, what is it? What is it? And then I just try to like find
it's so
feelings
cute.
inside me.
You're
and I
like,
just go like,
what is it?
Is
Come,
there something
appear.
I'm avoiding?
She's also talking to the universe. Who do you
Is
think
that
is
what it
giving you?
is?
Yeah. Who do you think is giving you these answers? It's
I
like-
thought it was my pate.
No, you are the universe. You are
I
the
guess.
universe. You're in the
The
universe.
universe.
And you are the
Polka
universe.
dot, listen, polka dot. This is
You're the universe.
I am
Should've known.
barely a person.
Thanks for being on this podcast, the universe.
Okay, bye.
I'm sitting here with my good friend, the universe.
Oh man, no, I didn't realize.
But
that's it,
I get
guess,
why
yeah.
you're like, every once in a while, you're like, okay, am I pushing something down? Do I
Yeah.
need to address it?
Yeah.
Or because if you
the
don't.
problem with this that I was just listening to, I was thinking the big problem with culture or with me, I don't know, is that feeling your feelings is a very it's not a very fun thing to do. It's kind of boring also. Also, after a point, I'm like, मैं कितनी बार रहूँ same problem के बारे में? Why am I not able to just solve it? And like, what if the Rona gets me like, addicted to Rona itself, or I don't know.
You can get addicted to a certain kind of sadness.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is true.
It's
Is
a
that
good
lyrics?
lyric.
Yeah.
It's not my lyric.
think
I wish
it's
it was
lyrics.
my lyric. It's a great
felt like lyrics.
Yeah.
I don't know, but like, I feel like my tears also have like a certain like.
How
kind
do
of,
you
like-
know when you felt enough of a feeling? That's a question, please answer, psychologist.
How do you know? You just, if you want to stop feeling it, that's
feel
when you
it.
know. If you don't want to stop, that's, I guess that's also where
I
people
guess you
who
feel
are,
it. That you felt enough
had
of
enough,
this feeling.
yeah.
You
Yeah?
feel it, yeah.
You have to want to stop feeling, because if you want to just stay in your sadness, that's chill. But then you'll know, you're like, I don't want to
Yeah.
stop feeling like this.
Oh yeah, because
Yeah.
sometimes
And
like
sometimes I do feel like that if something bad happens. I'm like, I don't want to just get over this. This is something that I was so excited about and it fell through, or something that, like disappointed me in a really
Yeah.
big way. I want to be sad. I want to cry. I want to write sad songs about it. And, I'm going to do that for as long as it takes me. And then one day I'm just like, oh, okay, fine. I'm like better than this, whatever.
Yeah. But you're right, Sejal. I mean, some of these emotions are really hard to sort of decipher.
yeah,
and that's
it's
when
never
you need
as
another
linear
person.
also.
It's
Oh.
never as linear, which is why I'm like,
Sometimes I'm like, I'm done with this. And then like
Yeah.
months later you just suddenly like choke up, and in the middle of choke up it stops also. It's like, am I done? Is it
No,
still
yeah.
there? The feeling?
I think it never really sort of goes away. You just have to sort of know that, okay, that is a thought coming in my brain, and you sort of like just note it. That's a technique.
Yeah.
You sort of note that feeling that's happening and you don't really act on it.
Okay,
Or like, okay, I'm feeling this way. But
Once
that's
it
okay.
crosses the barrier from subconscious to conscious, your process is complete for that time.
Yeah, when you start
That's the-
dreaming about your ex-boyfriend is when you know.
So it's a problem.
You
I guess
you're over him.
आज सुबह ही मैंने ड्रीम डायरी में लिखा था अपने ब्रेकअप
I'm so glad that you have a dream diary.
But what, to address what you said about feelings can be boring sometimes, isn't that the point of existence? Like, to feel things as a human? Like, isn't that why toxic positivity can feel like shit? Because it's like all feelings are valid and they feel good. Like, I mean, I'm not saying anxiety feels good.
Oh.
But like, sadness can feel good sometimes. It's like sometimes you just need a good cry. It
You
feels
are
fucking
just
good.
musician Max.
To cry.
This is just like sadness, I love it.
I just want to just like lie in my bed and listen to like.
But then it's all fun and games, but then you have to get out of bed and also pay the rent of the house. So I think that's when I'm like, बहुत हो गया feel करके अब मेरे को काम करना.
Yeah,
Which leads me to another point. I feel like, I don't know if you've had a corporate job, Aaliyah, but
Thankfully not.
No?
you've been into a job. I feel like this is also something that they do in like a workplace environment where they're like, even though you're like in the lowest strata of the job, you still have to show up on time and then be happy about the job you do, which I feel like is it's so sucky to expect like I should not only like work on my job, I should also put on a happy face for you guys.
Yeah.
It should be like HR has said ki ab to come for this birthday party, then I have to show up. Why the fuck?
I have the perfect strategy for this. During my work time only I realized capitalism is a scam to me, and therefore I will scam it back. All
Love
the
it.
sick days. They were not sick
They
days.
were not sick days.
Okay, a lot of them were not
She
sick
was just
days.
sad.
Hangover is also
Sad.
a sickness in a way. Okay.
That is
Yeah.
true.
In a way, yeah.
I think you should just scam the system back and just be like, yeah, sorry, not feeling well.
My way of scamming the system back is stealing toilet paper. 'Cause I'm like, I'm crying so much in this office. I need some toilet paper.
That's nice. I like it. It's like a subtle flex.
Yeah. it's a three
How do you
ply.
get
It's
out
a
of
three
the
ply
bathroom?
flex.
It's a very non-aggressive way to get back at your
Polite.
employer.
Yeah, passive.
Very
But do you
polite.
feel like that also reminded me of how as women we're always told to smile? Like sometimes it'll be like, oh, why are you looking so down? You'd be so beautiful if you smiled. And I'm just like, I'm feeling an emotion. Do you want me to smile just to please you? Like,
Yeah.
why are you asking me to do this?
I've had my worst cry sessions in office, and I wouldn't intend to cry. I would just be having a discussion with my boss or some
is happening to me,
colleague,
yeah.
and I would just immediately start crying. And then I don't want anyone to tell me what I should do. I would hate if someone tells me stop crying, because that makes me cry a little more.
This has happened to me where I'm just like in the middle of an argument. I'm just like, excuse me. I just go to the
So
bathroom.
many times I have to be
I have
like,
a nice
ignore my
bond.
tears. I know I'm crying. Just ignore my tears. Focus on my words. It's the points that I'm making, because I'm making really good points. But everyone's like, why are you crying?
That sucks. It's like I'll cry if I want to, man. Like
Yeah.
it's my eyes, my water.
Exactly.
Let me cry.
My eyes,
I'm
my
not asking you to
boobs.
supply the hydration for these tears. Let me cry if I want.
What do you think if somebody is crying in front of you, what would you do?
I would be like, it's okay, let it out. Like that's whenever people cry, I get really, not like in a sadistic way, but I get really happy because I'm like, yes, express. I like talking to people when they're emotional. I feel like it's the most honest they are when they're vulnerable and when I'm vulnerable. But I tell people, I'm like, ro le tu matlab. It's okay.
Yeah.
I
Have
make
fun.
full on
Cry
eye
it out,
contact.
get it out.
You make full eye contact?
Yeah.
Do you also shed a little
And
tear?
get super quiet.
I don't.
And then like give them like share karna hai. Okay, cool. If they do it, great. If not, I'll wait for them to move on. That's my technique.
That's great.
Can't-
That you don't sort of like, say good vibes only. I think that's the
How
the
can
bar
you do
we're
that
working
when
with.
someone's crying? It's cruel. You need to let people cry. All emotions are valid and equally important. And if someone tells you to be happy when you don't want to be happy, just tell them to like fuck off
Yeah.
Nice way of taking
with a
our
smile. Fuck off.
I like how this episode was also like beach mein sad now. Like
Now we're like sort
ribbon.
of...
But also they're probably just trying to
Happy
help. They're probably also just trying to help. Like I feel like
Yeah.
people who are toxically positive aren't doing it out of like some malicious intent. They're doing it because they think they're being super
Yeah.
helpful and therapeutic. But like if you're in a bad mood, you don't care about that. You just want to tell them to fuck off.
but if they're there, use it superficially like a heater.
yeah, tell them to fuck off and see
Yeah.
if they're positive after that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
Or
when
remind
you
them
know.
of something horrible that happened in their life. And be like,
Yeah.
oh, tera last
Hey, remember when your dog died? Ha!
Oh my God.
Live, laugh, love.
Alright guys, on that note, this was the Overthink Tank. Thank you to Aaliyah and Sejal Bhat for overthinking toxic positivity with me, and I had a fun chat with you guys. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please don't forget to
Like, subscribe, share, follow, stalk,
run after.
run after.
If you see Bagga on the street, just be like, yeah, I follow your channel.
Yeah,
I
ask
do
her to
that.
sign your forehead and then get that tattooed permanently. If you like this video.